Hi, this is Paul, and this video will show you how to install the scripts and configure the iMAP software so that your controller can work with the scripts. The first thing we'll need to do is download some documentation. So we need to go to my forum, icon.paulhenty.com. We'll go to the download section here and documentation. And then we need to download this iCON scripts. So I'm going to save that on my disk in my downloads folder, and I'm going to make a new folder under here called iCON scripts. Save it in there. And now I need to unzip it. You can use any tool you want. I'm going to be using the default extractor in Windows, extract all, and then extract. So those are the files we're going to be needing. You can read through those. We'll be dealing mainly with this touchscreen buttons.pdf in a moment. And clean up my zip file, don't need that anymore. So now we need to open iMAP. And we also need to open this touchscreen buttons PDF. So the first thing we need to do is pick the slot that we're going to be using. I'll just stick with slot number 1. And then from this DAW menu, we have to choose Bitwig. Do not choose Studio One. If you choose Studio One, the metering will definitely not work, and other things probably won't work either. I've had to use the Bitwig profile here. If you need to know why, then there is an explanation in the written documentation. So now we need to set up the touchscreen buttons so that we have all the buttons we need to work with the script. So we're given some here by default. A lot of them aren't going to be applicable, so we're going to have to remove some, move them around, and add some. So on the touchscreen buttons PDF, we can see there's two colors here. The green ones mean that the button is already in Bitwig, so you can just use that one. And the blue one means you have to add it yourself. So on this front page here, I'm going to delete the ones that I really know we're not going to use. So for example, browser, that probably won't work in Studio One. I'm going to select it. And then to clear it, you come up here in this grey, right click and clear current button. Similarly with edit. Now, when you're doing this, be very careful. You do not accidentally click remove current DAW because it will blank this slot out and you'll lose all your work. And it won't ask you if you're sure, it will just do it. And the same with any of these others here. Like reset to factory, if you accidentally click that, it'll wipe out everything. So what I like to do is save as we go along. If you press the save file here, you can save a .imap, and that just means if you accidentally mess anything up, you can reload it. So I'll carry on blanking some of these out here. So we can see we have track, send and pan. These are already here, so these are fine. We can use those, except I might move pan to there. So here we need to add a new button. I'll just show you one example of adding this focus button. Click on the slot you want to put it in, and you go to MIDI. The message type here is note for most of these, actually for all of them so far. Channel is 1. And now we need the message value here is number 52. So from message value, we come down and select 52. And now we can, once we've filled all of those in, you can now add your own name to it. So we're just going to make this focus. And that's done there. Now, a lot of these are already here. So like shift, for example, I can just move this from here. So you can just drag this over, put that where you want. Markers is another one here. Put that where I want, etc. So here are the track type filters. If you're not going to be using any of these functions, of course, then just don't bother putting them on. But if you want to filter for various types, like maybe you want to filter for audio and VCAs and buses, you can put that on. If you never use MIDI tracks, don't include that one. So I'll give you one more example. I'll put this VCA filter button on. I'll select where I want it to go. Channel 1 and number 66. And now I can change this to VCA. Now the F keys here, most of the F keys are already on here. So that's 1 through 5. 6, 7, and 8, they're included, but they have a different label. So for example, punch in, this one here is actually F6. So I might just go and change that to F6 so I know what it is. Make sure your note is filled in, your channel is filled in, and now you can change it. And the same with punch out, make sure the channel's filled in, and now you can change that to F7. And I'll be showing you how to program up the function keys later on. And when you do program them to a certain feature in the DAW, you can obviously come back in here and change F1 to whatever the actual command is that you've programmed. So the next thing we're going to do is actually install the scripts. So we're going to go back to the forums. We're going to go back to the download section, and now we want this one here, scripts, whatever the latest version is. Click on that, and again we're going to save that into my iCON scripts downloads folder where I put the documentation. And again we need to unzip that. These are the scripts we're going to need. They're all in this folder here, and this folder we have to copy into the correct place in the Studio One installation so that it will pick them up. And to do that, the best way of doing it is to go to Studio One itself, and then you need to go to the Help menu and look for Open Settings folder. That will open the correct folder for you. So now let me bring back these scripts that we downloaded. So this is the iCON unofficial folder. That's the one we have to copy, and they have to go into a folder under here, Studio One 6, called User Devices. If you don't have that, as I don't, you may have it, but you may not. If you don't have it, simply create it, right click. So I'll just create that new one now. User space devices. So we'll go inside there, and then all I'm going to do is take this iCON folder and just drop it in. So if you, in future, if you want to upgrade to a new version, all you have to do is download the new zip file, unzip it, and then drag the new iCON folder into user devices and just overwrite it. Now I'm going to restart Studio One. So let's take that off and open it up again. Now we need to go to the Studio One menu, pull that down and select Options if you're on PC. If you're on Mac, this is called Preferences. And we need to go to this External Device tab. And then we can add our devices. So press Add, go down and look for the iCON unofficial. And then here's the 4 units you can have. I just have a P1-M. So I'll select that. And then you need to wire it up to the correct outputs. And select OK. Now, if you've got extender units, then there's some extra steps. Obviously, go and add an extender unit on. I'll just use these slots just as an example. So when you have the 2 there, you then have to go to placement and then put these both in a group. So you would drag them in, and then you can arrange them in the order that they are on your desk. So if you've got the extender to the left, you would put the extender on the left-hand side like that. So I'm now going to show you how to configure the F keys. So for this, I'm going to just make a new project. So what we need to do is get the mixer console up and then go over to the left-hand side here and show external devices. The external devices appear here, and select your main unit and go to Edit. And this will bring up a programming window so that you can set functions for the 8 F keys. So I'll just demonstrate one quickly here. So let's say we wanted F1 to control the visibility of the browser pane here. So we go to the F1 key here, we right click on the blue bit and assign a command. Now we can search for a command by name. So I'll type in browser. And then if we come down here, we can see we have a view browser command. So I'm going to select that. And now every time you press this button, the browser toggles on or off. And the same will obviously be true if you now press the F1 key on the control surface. Now, back in the iCON software, if we've hooked up a function to F1, we probably want to change that now. So again, we make sure we've got a channel in there, otherwise we won't be able to rename it. And now we can just change those to browser. And so that covers the installation and setup, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.